Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Mindset Check. Today we have two special guests on the call, Adriana Romero and Hugo Paredes. They have an inspiring story. We were actually connected through a mutual friend, Danielle Ferris, and she told me a little bit about your guys' story, but I wanted you guys to come on the show and share your inspiring story. So thank you for being on the call.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for having me as a guest. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, I know you just came off of a TV segment.
I did.
How did
Yeah,
that go?
it went well. I was a little nervous because I am not 100% fluent in my Spanish, and it was a Spanish interview,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but I still killed it.
Oh, I'm sure. No
Yeah.
doubt, no doubt. So let's jump in real quick. You own and operate two event and limo businesses, correct?
Yes, I would say we are in the entertainment industry 100%.
How were you guys impacted the last couple years? What did you guys do? How did you guys pivot?
1 week before the shutdown in San Diego, we had our expo and it was amazing. A great turnout, complete success. I would say we were doing better than ever. We were on our 5th year with royalty events and our 6th year with San Diego Limo Boss. So we were doing great, in my opinion. And then the shutdown hit. It completely shut us down 100%. Our event planning company is a private event planning company where we sell party packages and help people find a venue. All the venues that we worked with, that we were preferred vendors, basically shut down and didn't do events either. The limos operated a little bit more here and there, but it did slow down a lot during the pandemic. I would say for a good 6 to 8 months, business for the limo side definitely dropped.
Walk me through that.
Ooh.
Freaking out, right? A little bit?
Uh, um, you know what? I didn't freak out. I didn't panic. I really had to figure out how to get through all of the hard times and how to get through it with 3 children, all on Zoom classes, clients that I still had contracts for the future, clients asking for their deposits back. So it was really a taking it one day at a time type of thing. In the past, I definitely couldn't do that. I definitely would have probably freaked out, had an anxiety attack, cried a lot, something bad.
Yeah. Well, that's normal. I mean, I would think most people would have done that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I was completely strong through the whole process. No, there were times that I did break down and I did have a couple tears, and it was a pressuring time. Definitely a pressuring time, definitely a challenge that I had to face. But I believe in my higher power, and I believe that I just continued taking it one day at a time, honestly. And I just kept getting through it through the power of positivity.
Yeah.
That's honestly what helped me.
But how did your belief, your belief in yourself, your belief in higher power, your belief in that you had a higher purpose during this, really helped push you forward?
I've learned how to convert my belief in my higher power away from religious belief, religious rules. I was raised in that type of environment, and it did make me not believe in God for a while, and I kind of was on the negative side. I learned how to grow as a person through just spiritually. And there was mentors in my life that helped me kind of maneuver those negative thoughts and those rules, and that such strict way of believing in a higher power is just religiousness and being scared. It's not at all, actually. I believe in my higher power because I know for sure I would not be where I'm at if I did not believe. I have had a crazy life. I am a statistic. I'm not supposed to be here right now. So that's how I know that there is something greater that helps me and that really picks me up and that opens doors for me.
Talk to me about that. How, that to me is super interesting if you don't mind sharing.
It took a long time to get to that place because, like I said, I was basically raised in this super strict church. There was so many rules involved. So it really messed with my mind, honestly. I didn't feel settled. I didn't feel happy, like free. And once I started discovering through, some of my mentors, it's like Pastor Miles with the Rock Church, just watching different videos and really feeding my mind in a different way than I was fed, growing up as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing that on my own and listening to like Steve Harvey,
Mm-hmm.
inspirational videos, people that really live these like really rough lives and are in a completely different place now. Those are the people that I looked up to, and I still do. Just feeding my mind every day, one day at a time, it really did help me because eventually I found myself doing that and a year passed already.
Mm-hmm.
And my mindset is in a whole different place now than it was a year ago.
In that year alone, would you say you grew more than a lot of years combined previous?
Oh, 100%.
Hmm. And would you even maybe credit the pandemic to forcing you, pressuring you to allow that higher self in you to come through and actually, address your challenges?
Yes, absolutely. You actually used the right word right there. Address your challenges,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what the pandemic did to me personally.
Mm-hmm. It made you stronger. It made you evolve much quicker. What I'm hearing is that you used the challenge, and you allowed your evolution to occur naturally because you faced your challenges. Now you're like a completely different person.
Absolutely. Lots of ugly, pretty in between this
Right.
pandemic, but it's definitely molded me.
I kind of have a similar experience with God, with religion, and grew up in a very religious environment, very strict. And my perspective on God and what I'm here for, what I'm here to do, has changed dramatically. And I will say the last couple of years have been also evolving or evolutionary. For instance, this call, I'm learning so much, and it's because I'm open to the concept that my idea of who God is or who He isn't is not necessarily, rather it's not ever static. It's always changing because I'm growing. My understanding is expanding, and so I think it's beautiful to hear that you've been able to take this experience of the pandemic and really have grown from it. You obviously aren't done learning, and you're not done understanding or trying to understand God's source. How would you say you are now addressing your challenges differently than, let's say, before?
Oh man, I address my challenges in a completely different way. Depending on the challenge,
Mm-hmm.
right? I did used to react really quickly. That would cause me to make a lot of mistakes, have some regrets, in some of the words that I used with people.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned how to kind of calm that and think about it, which is a very difficult to do, by the way,
Sure, of course.
especially when you want to be right.
Well, we all have our programming, right? You use the right word. We react versus we respond typically. Unless you've passed that point of understanding the difference, you're probably stuck in reaction mode where your default reaction is based on your programming, based on your upbringing, based on what you believe.
Exactly. And my upbringing wasn't the most beautiful when it comes to reactions. There was a lot of yelling,
Mm-hmm.
chaos, mental abuse, emotional abuse with the words. That's something that I saw, and I grew up finding myself becoming almost that same way,
Mm-hmm.
and then envying that person and wanting to change that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be what I didn't like.
Everybody's journey is different, so we can only understand to a certain degree. But I think as parents, we're responsible to not teach our children what love is, but show them what love is. If your parents or your surrounding or your family did a bad job at demonstrating to you what real love is, then you tend to project that same love because that's all you understood. Right? Yeah, that's all you know until you start to be exposed to, wow, this is real love. This is when somebody really cares about me. This is how they treat me. This is how they, react. As a
Exactly.
parent now, you probably have a different anxiety. Like I have. I'm like, am I doing a good enough job? Am I giving them any of my negative experiences? Right?
Right. Yes, exactly.
It sounds like you're having a lot of awesome shifts in your life when it comes to your three kids. How are you trying to instill in them a different way of being that you were brought up with?
I am a very affectionate, loving mother. I'm definitely the type of mother that's going to be giving you lots of kisses and hugs, whether you want it or not.
Beautiful.
So my kids are they get a little annoyed sometimes, but I know that they're gonna grow up as adults appreciating, the fact that I admire them so much. And I want to show them every day
Mm-hmm.
that I admire them. And I want to encourage any skill they have. For example, my daughter's an artist. She does anime art and graphics, and she's absolutely in love with it. She's 12 years old, and she was a little shy, a little embarrassed, because I guess someone in the family had made a comment, some religiousness about some of her
Sure.
anime, that it wasn't, I
Of
don't know.
course. Of
So
course.
she didn't want to show me,
Uh-huh.
but then she ended up opening up to me and showing me, and I had to have a whole discussion with her of, no, never hide anything like this. This
Mm-hmm.
is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is amazing. You can do so good in this.
Mm-hmm.
I encouraged her, and now she's completely open and shows me her
Beautiful.
art and everything, and which I think is really great,
Yeah.
and that's how I want my children to be. I want them to know that no matter what, I'm going to encourage their skills, and I'm going to bring
Mm-hmm.
those skills out in them,
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to bloom and blossom.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, you're giving your kids so much of that space where they can be who they are here to be. You're giving them that love and support that you didn't have, and now that's just allowing them to start way way ahead of the
Yes.
game, right?
Yes,
Oh, I
absolutely.
love it.
Absolutely. Because that's where it starts,
Mm-hmm. In the
you
home, in the
know,
home.
in the home and young.
Oh, right, for sure. There's this saying, I forgot who said it. Between the ages of 1 and 7 years old, a child is basically taught their programming, and they will always have that as a default. So between 1 and 7, you're teaching them everything that they're going to use. That's powerful because when you're a kid, you're so suggestible, right? You're just this sponge taking everything in. And so, for me, having that sense of pressure has given me anxiety at times because, you don't want to mess up either, right? Like, I don't want to mess up.
Yes.
But I have to sit back, take a breath, and realize I'm not perfect. So my kids are always going to have something that they're going to work through as well. But it's not going to be the way I had to, right?
That's for sure. Right.
So I hear that
Yeah.
that's kind of the same for you.
It's very much the same for me. Whatever I can do to make this area better than what I had, then I'm going to do that for them.
First of all, you're a mom. That in and of itself is such a difficult and obviously a rewarding task and job. You have 2 businesses. You have
Yes.
to be like optimal levels at least the majority of of the time. And if you're not, how do you get yourself back there? So in the morning, we talked a little bit about this offline, but in the morning, how do you prime yourself for the day? And then if you hit something where you just realize, man, I'm being super negative or toxic, or this situation is not going the way I want, how can I grow from this? What do you do?
Every day when I wake up, I have to exercise. 4 days a week, at least minimal. I have to exercise. And I've learned that about myself, that exercise really helps me in so many different levels. If I just get it done in the morning, even if it's a 30-minute workout, I have to get some type of exercise in. I do really love nature. So I do go out to my patio and look at the view. And almost every day I would do meditation breaths and give myself that time to just kind of clear out everything and breathe and love myself, love the day. Thank God for a new day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what helps me get everything in order.
Mm-hmm. I'm the
So
same
it
way.
works.
Yep.
It works.
Yep.
And I'm living proof that it works, because before I even practice this, I used to have anxiety, high anxiety.
Sure. Yeah.
And now it's like, where did that anxiety go? I don't know where it's at anymore. And I don't want to know where it's at anymore. I don't even want to see it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, get away from me. No, right. You don't want it. I get it. I'm with you. I think my own just non-scientific hypothesis is just that I'm saying this because I relate to it, is when I work out in the morning, it's like I allow the flood of negativity or anxiety that has been my default response or reaction to get channeled into some sort of exercise.
Yes.
Right. And so breathing is powerful too, because when you breathe, you're moving your body, the energy is moving, and you're exhaling. So for me, it's like I'm envisioning what negative default mode you might be in is just leaving your body, and you're allowing then from that point on for you to decide, okay, how do I want my day to go? Because before I woke up with all this anxiety, now I got rid of it. Now, how can I really mold my day?
Exactly.
And what did you
And
hear about breath work and all that? Like, what's that like for you in the morning?
well, I was first introduced to that through yoga, and I got a lot more intrigued by it. So I started looking up videos and learning a little bit more about it and what it does for your brain. And ever since that, I've just been a huge fan of giving yourself that time.
Anytime you're breathing, it's such an important part. Obviously, that's how you live, but how you breathe is equally important. There's just different types of breath work. I was
Right.
just curious, like what you do exactly.
I do different ones. I do the ones that I learned through yoga, basically.
Okay.
So,
Hey, if
but
it works, keep it going. You know.
they are so helpful.
Powerful. So breath work, exercise, meditation, nature. Now, you primed yourself for the day, but something happens, it's getting you upset. Obviously, you start to recognize this and you're like, okay, I need to pull myself away from this. How do you pivot during the day?
Yeah, that's a good question because something will always happen, and that prepares me for anything really. So, pivoting through the day through any type of conflict, like I said, depending on the situation and the circumstance of what the conflict is,
Mm-hmm.
I will get through it without yelling
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or cursing or overreacting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal.
Mm.
I think body language is very important, especially when you're reaching a conflict.
Yes.
Really got to just kind of be still, and you have to not react, with your body. And I think from there, I kind of just, everything just kind of flows together. I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There are times where my children will get me. It really takes all that practice and work. And that's the only thing that will help you pivot through a challenge, because challenges are always going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to just be ready for it, and you have to learn how to get through it. I do events, so I'm an event coordinator, a
Mm-hmm.
planner.
That's a lot of
So
emotion
many
there.
challenges
Yep.
behind the
Yep.
scenes in that. There are so many fires that you are putting out
Mm-hmm.
during the setup and behind the scenes, where there are some people around you that will have anxiety and will be stressed out, and I'm the one that has to calm down that
Mm-hmm.
scene, that situation,
Sure.
and figure out, oh, right, this is a problem. So what is the solution?
Yeah.
What are we going to do to solve this? All right, let's solve this. I think that's why a lot of the girls that work with me, they worked with me for about 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they love working with me because they say that I kind of give, the whole event this flow of peace.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, because that's how I want it to be.
When you're faced with a challenge, you respond, you don't react, you take a step back and tune in with yourself first, right? Make sure you're centered, and then
Absolutely.
you dive right into the problem. You don't run away from it, and then you find a solution.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Got it.
because I'm managing a team. I'm managing so many things. And the last thing you need is for your event coordinator or planner to be overreacting, stressed out, a stress case, a mess.
Sure.
No.
Nope. Don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
definitely don't.
I love it. Okay, one last question before we end. We're actually going way longer than I promised, so I appreciate you staying on. If you had one piece of advice to give somebody today, something maybe you would tell your younger self, what would that be?
I would definitely tell my younger self to love myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. Love who you are, how you're created, how diverse you are, and own that. Take that with you, build something out of that, and you'll find yourself.
I love that. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being vulnerable, sharing us your journey. It's not an easy thing to relive in 10, 20, 30 minutes here, so I appreciate that.
No problem. No, that's great. I love having conversations like this. I can actually talk about this all day.
I love it. What's the best place, if somebody's watching, listening, what's the best place they can connect with you?
The best place to connect with me is on Facebook or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have multiple accounts. We have San Diego Limo Boss. We have SD Royalty Events. And then I have my Instagram account is Premier Event Planner. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm excited to follow you guys now. I'm connected with you on social, so I'll follow your journey.
Make sure to watch me on Fox 5 on Wednesday at 9:15 a.m. I'm going to be talking about my expo coming up this Sunday, and I'm going to be talking about all the great things that are going to be going on there. So it's going to be a great time.
Wonderful. Adriana, thank you so much for being on today, and we definitely would love to have you back on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, you have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.